Yeah.
I know this. I know this is true because I backed a recent project and it was on one of my expired cards, and I didn't check the notifications on that
Yeah, but
account,
this
and
is like
I
this
still
isn't
show as a
an
backer.
error. This is actually them. I mean, it wouldn't have pulled yet, so I don't. They must be canceling, or I don't know how bots work. I don't. What does the bot
It
get
could
out
very
of that?
easily be a bot too.
Yeah.
Well, what
the
is
only
the
the only
bot-
thing I could think of if it was somebody that's legitimate, the only thing I think of is if somebody follows you, you back for $1, you back for $500. It doesn't matter. You back for $1, and all your followers are going to say, "Hey, JD Calderon just backed to this thing," and then they're like, "You know what? Now I've done my job. I've promoted this thing,
Yes.
and then now I don't want to go spend the dollar to back the campaign." So then
I
they pull
think
the
you're
dollar
giving
out.
them way too much credit.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not
that's
saying they
super
would
real.
do that.
That's
I'm
super real.
yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you think they're not algorithm chasers, they're yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, ladies, gentlemen, let's get to this question. So we all know it's been a crazy week, right? So the industry is in flux yet again. Is this good or bad for indie comics? And hold on, here's the rest of the damn question. I couldn't fit it all in that one line. Will it force us to think about new solutions to old dilemmas?
Doesn't do
No,
anything.
next
for me.
question.
Yeah, not for me.
Your
no.
turn, Matt. You're up.
All right, so I would say this. My first thought is this: anytime there's a change in the industry, there's going to be some time where people that are used to doing it the old school way are going to have the biggest struggle. The people that have already looked for the new school way are going to be the ones that are going to have the best chance of surviving. I think that it's been pretty clear that the model that Diamond was under was something that didn't really work for the smaller guys. If you're talking about taking 60% of a cover price off the top of what your sale price is, you're going to have to sell an absolute ton of units to make that dollar amount make sense when it's out there in the industry. I mean, obviously it's a necessary evil that's out there, but I think that you look at people again like Tom that are doing a lot of Kickstarters that have found a way, Pat Shan, Charlie Stickney, that have found a way to be able to build their business that doesn't need the diamond as the majority. That's the way of the future right now. I mean, I think that there's something is going to happen. There's going to be some kind of model out there, but Diamond didn't go chapter 11 because it was successful. Diamond went chapter 11 because their business model isn't sustainable right now either. That's how I feel.
All right, fair enough. Now, Tom, now.
No, next question.
Okay, Carissa.
No, it's Matt's very right about what he just said. But again, we always, when we talk about the industry, we kind of have to determine what the hell are we talking about? Because the part that's in flux is really, and has been, the LCS model, the local comic shop, the Diamond distribution, Lunar now, Penguin, all that kind of stuff. That's what's in flux. So it's going to affect everyone for the most part who's involved with those segments of the industry. I'm only invested in that segment of the industry in a very small percentage because Antarctic Press takes my stuff through Diamond. But I left Diamond on purpose like 8 years ago, not because I felt that they were doing anything like specifically wrong, but just because I had been in that system for like 7 years between myself and then with Aspen, and I kind of saw what it was when I started, what it was when I was with Aspen, where it was going when I had to make a decision. Do I go back to Diamond? Do I try Kickstarter? Like, what is the industry at that moment? And for 7 years, I learned that, when you're dealing with Diamond as your primary function for distribution, you are going to be chasing money. Because you just don't sell enough units to as a small press guy, you don't sell enough units to really even barely pay for your printing costs and the cost of your talent. So that's where a lot of these variant covers started coming in. People doing exclusive for this con and this con, because they were chasing money. They're like, hey, you know what? We maybe have broken even, but we now need to make another 10 grand to pay all of our, pay for our overhead and so on. So let's do these convention exclusives. And make extra money because we can just fit those into our print runs and we can make extra money. But then even as that went along, the market changed again because the internet became more and more and more strong and daily and it became, well, okay, if we don't sell out at this con, we'll just put them all online. Then people started going, well, this stuff's just available online. I don't even have to go to the con. All of a sudden, the convention attendee base has a big shift. Convention goers are not coming, and it's more people are here for the movie stars. So Flux has been here for decades across all segments of this industry. But with Diamond fluxing hard, that's going to be a super big problem for guys like us, smaller people that hadn't gotten their toe in with Lunar before Lunar closed the doors on new accounts. And if Diamond can't survive long enough for Lunar to be ready to open the doors and say like, okay, we're ready, come in here now, you're going to see a lot of smaller publishers disappear. A lot of them will now. Again, a lot of these publishers, right, are just sort of umbrella houses for creators. It's, hey, I'm a guy and I made a thing, and this guy's publishing me. So a lot of these publishers will just vanish because they're not even a real entity. They don't own anything, right? It's just they're taking other properties and taking them to market. But then you've got places like, for example, Zenescope or Aspen or whatever, where those guys are legitimate, real publishers. They own what they do. Yeah. Those are the guys that are going to be like, well, how do we deal with this? Like, what is our plan? But both of those guys have been doing Kickstarters and crowdfunding, extra things beyond the retail market. So I think anyone who's worried about the Diamond flux, step one is you got to figure out where you are, why the flux is affecting you. I'm not saying it does or doesn't, but why does it affect you? And if it is, there are options for you as a creator. Even as a publisher, there are options for you to expand what you do, bring your market to another market, and not just have all your eggs in the Diamond basket.
That's the longest short answer I've ever heard.
Right? He started off with no.
I am not smart enough for any of this. I just release a book on Kickstarter and hope someone buys it. So I am no use to you.
But the thing is though, Carissa saying that goes to show what I said earlier. Somebody like Carissa has got her best Kickstarter campaign that she's ever had right now. Yep. The Diamond thing doesn't affect her in any way because it doesn't need that Diamond to be able to do the things that she's doing. And honestly, I bet you if Carissa tried to find a way to get through Diamond, she'd probably legitimately lose her mind because she's already running 6-7 campaigns a year. And you're doing all you can to, I know you've said you're working on stuff in 2024. You said you had cover art stacked up through 2026 as a single person operation. So if you even tried to go there, you'd probably be like, well, this isn't helping my business at all. So you've kind of like bucked the trend.
Covers till 2027, but yes.
Okay. My bad. My bad.
But yeah, no, I mean, mostly it was because I was too lazy to figure it out and I didn't feel like paying them. But yeah, I mean, I just do Kickstarter because that seems to be the simplest and quickest solution, and I don't have to buy like 800 comics and keep it in my house. So
we'll see, but that's a key thing because you understood right away, even if it was on a subconscious level, that you're taking your product directly, not just directly to market, but to customers. You're not saying, "Hey, Diamond, look at my stuff," and then Diamond is telling 2,500 retailers, hey, retailers, look at this stuff, decide how many you want, come back to distributor, come back to Carissa prints things, sends them out. It's like, no, just I'm taking my book and I'm putting it in front of customers' eyeballs. Customers can click yes and buy a book, and I'm done.
And doing shows with both of them now, so that they know a bit more. They know me more than I do, so they're smarter than me. Yes, I did it all on purpose, and you guys got it right.
And you're living proof that you can literally start at zero and grow a brand. And now here you are with your best campaign ever, and there's growth. You are the living proof of 0 to 60. And so anybody who comes in and says it's impossible for this to happen, I'm going to refer you to the lady on my right, because she's literally doing what you're telling me cannot be done.
Actually, I did say that to somebody. Someone posted that it's impossible to make more than, what did they say? Like $2,000 on Kickstarter. I was like, then you're doing it wrong. I mean, it's hard. Yeah. My first campaign, before I even knew, I don't know what's going now, before I knew to do shows, I made 900. And then 2 months later, I released the new issue 1, and I made 2,800. So it's like it's just trial and error. So we'll go with that.
Fair enough, Marcus. What are your thoughts?
What was the question again?
Just say no,
Mark.
Marcus. Just say no.
Just say no.
Thanks, sir.
Right there. The industry is in flux yet again. Is this good or bad for indie comics?
Yes. But yeah, I'm with Tom. It's a good thing and a bad thing, and I'm of two minds about it at the same time. At one point, I was talking to Diamond, and Odyssey's catalog was getting submitted to them, and I was having a lot of back and forths with the teams there until I personally decided that their methodology and how the way they do things and what they wanted to do wasn't beneficial for Odyssey Comics as a publisher or our creators. It wasn't the right way to go. So at that point, I decided not to roll with them. I look at the whole model of how things are going on, and especially coming from the business world, just scratch my head, being like, this thing is like a house of cards. How does it work? And all it takes is a couple of them to start getting pulled out, or a strong gust of wind to start blowing things down, and then it all collapses. So I never liked it. I never meshed with it well. There's a lot of stuff in comics I don't mesh with, and I'm always looking for alternative means and things to go with. So being on Kickstarter, of course, having a base there, having whatever mini projects that we put out right now, that's always been sort of priority number one to me, because it's like Tom said, you're dealing direct to customer. There's no middlemen. Capitalism loves middlemen, by the way. But as we are coming up, we're being more, in the DIY era, we talk about a whole lot. There's a hell of a lot less need for middlemen, even from the publisher standpoint. Sometimes I get pitches and I'm like, you guys got experience. The fuck you need me for? Like, go launch it all, you get it out and go. Maybe we work on something. I see I could assist you, but it's like, from a standpoint, you guys got things rolling. You got your own audience. It's like, what am I really doing for you? Like, we're pursuing our own means to direct market right now, but it's a little bit like a slower thing. But at the end of the day, it's all on me, and it's up to my effort to get things going. And most importantly, I can't be upside down on it. We do a lot of print on demand and things like that. So usually I'm just getting checks, for whatever we sell, and then that's just it. So yeah, when I look at it, it's like I feel bad for the situation, because it's going to affect a lot of these smaller publishers and the people that are like on our level and things like that. Because Dymo was the only person really taking us, because they had to, because they didn't have anybody else. So it's tough, because there's not a whole lot of places for us to go in indie comics. So if someone like Diamond goes belly up, then that's really like a huge vacuum that gets created with that. But the second part is, my other mindset is that nature and business abhors a vacuum. Something comes in to fill that void sooner or later. Now, that's not saying that if someone else is going to come in with a Diamond model, take up that business, like someone like Lunar is going to absorb them. It could come in a myriad of ways. Sometimes that might just be independent people get together and sort of figure it out, which I wouldn't bet any money on that. But
independent people coming together, that's some pie in the sky right there.
That's madness. I tried that.
Good it is. Yeah.
But the point remains is that innovation has to come as a byproduct of these things to happen, and whether that's for the worse or the better isn't to be determined. I'm not a smart enough person to say that 100%. Yeah, it's going to be that way. But I think what I've been doing is taking the time to sort of look at the scope of that. And I'm a person that's always looking at numbers. I'm always looking at the industry. And one thing I try to do is look and really understand the scope of what's going on, especially as it relates to, say, distribution in the LCSs. People talk a lot about how comics is booming and everything like that. And then on our level, or, the people who are fans of Marvel and DC and Image and Dark Horse and all that, they're not seeing it. Well, that's because 75% of what's booming isn't comic book publishers. It's manga, it's Dogman, it's over 75% of the volume in comics takes place outside of comic book publishing and comic book distribution. So that alone kind of tells you one way or another. The writing is on the wall. Might be Diamond today, might be Lunar tomorrow. As we Gen Xers and millennials start to age up and age out, these kids 18 to 24, they ain't fucking reading Spider-Man.
Right.
They're sure as hell not reading Nazi comics. So what is going to be like the real future? So it's hard to say that like one thing is going to improve, or we're going to figure something out, because we might be on a timetable just on the grand scheme of things. We're just seeing like the first salvo here. But it's also to understand that when you're operating like that, then the world is open to you. We need to be risky. We need to try to do more things that are outside the box and like a little bit differently. So yeah, it might be bad right now. It might be bad in the long term, but really how you approach it and how you navigate it determines if there could be potential to do something else, or we could find another alternative that works out better for us, especially on the indie side.
All right, cool. Jay, what do you think?
What was the question again? No. Yeah, is it bad for indies? Yes, because if there was one thing that Diamond was doing, is that they were the tax man, right? They were the ones collecting the revenue for the smaller press places from the shops that we have no leverage to get that revenue from, right? I mean, are we going to call Monday? Are we going to call Tuesday? Are we going to call Friday? Are we going to call Sunday? Are we going to call Saturday? Hey, you have an unpaid invoice. They barely want to order from one distribution source. You think they want to pay out multiple invoices to multiple vendors, to multiple comic creators? No. So Diamond was collecting that money. Another level to this is that it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks for shops who are on the Diamond ordering system to transfer over to Luna. That's a best case scenario, right? So that means they're not going to have new product coming in for 3 to 4 weeks. How many of them are going to survive? 1. 2, if Lunar is already having trouble with multiple vendors, how much trouble are they going to have dealing with or shipping out to multiple retailers when they're still trying to build a foundation, legitimately build a foundation, right? They're in the middle of building a brand new warehouse right now. But was this, Sarah S. was asking, was this in the works for a while now? Yeah, because it wasn't just comics, right? The smaller retailers understood that you could go to Entertainment Earth and you can buy your toys wholesale from Entertainment Earth at no minimum, with the exception of the first order. The first order wholesale had to be a minimum of $500. After that, you could order ones or twos. You could order every other week or every other month. It didn't matter because you had already established that account. So toys were a big part of previews also, of Diamond also, right? They had failed to innovate, plain and simple, right? You go back to Capital City, go back to doing all that. All right, fine. Yes, that was one nail in the coffin, right? The pandemic, yes. We are in the crowdfunding age, right? We're not in the silver age. We're not in the bronze age, modern age, right? We are in the crowdfunding age. I remember going to New York Comic Con and being at the ICV2 panel and talking to a couple of the reps from Diamond. And they were touting how in one weekend they were able to integrate Shopify into their programming and make it easier for retailers. In one weekend, okay, how many crowdfunding platforms have popped up? Could they have not taken a shot at crowdfunding? And Marcus, you said it, right? They abhor the vacuum, right? B2B, they're the middlemen. That is the heart of our industry right now, is being the middleman to facilitate sales between indie creators, shops, and still get your nut at the same time. And they refuse to do that. Not just with the crowdfunding stuff. I don't know how many times we heard they were still operating on Windows 7 up till a few years ago,
Yeah.
right? And that's something that went out with the Millennium. It's like the more and more you peel back the layers, the more they didn't care about this fucking industry. They didn't, and it sucks. So yes, we have to go out there, put our money where our mouth is, and do it on our own. And we are succeeding. If we weren't succeeding, we wouldn't be here. Right? And we're finding ways to not only keep the lights on, but pay our freelancers and sometimes put a couple bucks in our pocket or help other people get out there.
Who puts bucks in their own pockets?
Not me, but
Yeah.
some people.
Exactly.
So-
Well, Tom has a lake. He's probably the only one.
He's going to start hockey season now. You know, it's
I'm
freezing
renting
over.
it out to the fishermen. They can go out on the lake and fish. $50 a day.
There you go.
I'll give you a 5x5 on the lake.
There you go. There you go. See, he's making money any which way he can, bro.
I think the biggest thing that people always need to be careful of is that I remember back in the day, because the back in the day is probably never going to come back and be the day of the future. A couple of very quick ones. IBM. Back in the day, IBM and Apple were the only two computers that there were. IBM didn't adapt to the laptop and the handheld industry quick enough. And then everybody else took the mantle, and IBM is never going to be that big thing anymore. I just saw a thing about Blockbuster stores. Blockbuster went from one store to 6,000 back down to where there's now only one in Oregon because they didn't adapt quick enough to streaming. And then it became Netflix. The people that, I remember back in the day going to Blockbuster was so nice. They have that reminiscence, but you're never going to have a Blockbuster store on the corner on every other block like you did in the 90s and 2000s ever again. Will you ever have Diamond as it used to be? I mean, I know a lot of people that are like, I remember when I could go to a regular huge convention and I could go clear $4,000 in profit at that show. I don't know if I believe that, but most Comic-Cons, like Tom was saying now, don't cater to the small guy going in with your product to go and make a killing. Most of it is about $50 selfies and a signature, and then you get $100 from that celebrity. You have to adapt. You have to find ways and operate as if that thing that was happening before is never going to come back. That's the only way you're going to be able to find new solutions in the future.
Yeah, you have to operate like you're the thing. Everything you do has to be, I am the thing.
Right.
It can't be, you have to understand that there are a million people all trying to do what you're doing, make comics, make art, whatever it is. And you have to find a way to be marketing yourself to step above all of the noise, because there's just a shitload of noise down here.
Yeah.
And then on top of the noise are guys that make it out of the noise, like the Brian Politos, the Billy Tucci's, the Dan Mendozas. These guys kind of step themselves out of the noise because they make it about them. They're like, this is it. And then once they get up out of that noise, all of a sudden those guys that are out of the noise, guess what? They're playing together now. Now it's Lady Death and Zombie Tramp doing books together. And now it's Zombie Tramp and Hackslash are playing together. And they're all out of the noise. Meanwhile, the noise is down here where there's all this hashing and gnashing and high school nonsense down here.
Right.
Noise. You've got to step out above that noise and focus on what it is that you're doing. What are you making? What are you presenting? What are your designs? What are your stories? What is your marketing? What is your visibility? You have to get out of the noise. You cannot sit in the high school noise. And I'm not sitting here telling you that I've done that either, by the way. I still, I'm figuring out my way through all of this. But part two of the question, JD, was, is that going to make us think in different ways? Right. And the answer to that is yes. Or at least the answer should be yes. And I've been thinking about some stuff conceptually to do at cons very specifically, because I think that cons are the best way to get attention in a very short span of time. You've got 3 days, you've got 3,000 people roaming around you. Fucking sell books and create an event. You are an event within an event.
Please,
Most of the people in comics, including myself, we don't know how the fuck to do that.
Right.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Don't feed it to Jay's delusion. Come on.
Delusions? What are you talking about?
No.
Man's preaching to the choir right now.
No, it's okay. You're right, Jay. You're 110% correct. Go.
Just because
go
you become the get off my lawn guy
Go
doesn't
do
mean
it.
that he's not saying the truth, bro. Come on. We got to change things around. And sometimes what's old is new again, right? And right now,
Right, and sometimes
in this
old
vacuum-
is old again.
is it working?
What
Is it working?
old are you trying to do, Jay? What's this old that you're trying to do?
No.
I'm pulling your chain, Jay.
Yes. But we're having fun. We're having fun.
Don't look at me. I can't get out of the noise. I make most of it. So
All right. So look. Let me.
But
answer
yeah. So but anyway, conventions are going to become a space, guys, where we have an opportunity to be something more than we are just in the online space. You will have people literally 3 feet away from your table, and if you're not standing up, and if you're not engaging, and if you don't have a good presentation behind you, and you don't have your table set up properly, and you don't even have a fucking tablecloth on your table, I'm looking at a lot of you people.
I have one.
Put a goddamn table on your tablecloth on your table. If you can't do at least that, then get the fuck out of the way and let people that want those spaces come in and use the space.
Or if you get a booth and you don't fucking show up until Sunday.
Also true. Yeah.
Dude, I don't get that, man.
I hate Fridays though. I would rather just do Saturday and Sunday. I never have good luck on Fridays. I hate them.
Listen, I never mind chopping up somebody's table who doesn't show up.
I look forward to
I
being
would do
there on
that.
Wednesday. Shit,
Right.
we made money on Wednesday, New York Comic Con. Come on.
Yeah. But look, for my part, the industry is in flux. Is it bad for the industry? I think it's bad for the industry. I think it's bad for indie comics. I think thinking out of the box is definitely something we all need to do. But the thing is for the longest time, the direct market was the backbone, whether it was Diamond or not Diamond, right? And this is the sort of thing that it like feeds into another portion of it, right? Well, like I know Marcus says, the thought pattern behind it has to change, but the pattern that it's established, or the type of business model that it's established, is a good one, where you give books to the Diamond, they send them to the retailers, and like Jay said, these guys are the tax collectors. They go out there and they're like, "Yo, pay us," right? Because how many times have any of you either done it or heard of the story of someone giving a store books on consignment, and the person comes in and says, "Hey, man, you sold a lot of my books. Can I have my money?" They're like, "Who are you? I've never seen you before in my store," right?
Or it's the manager, oh, he's not here today. Oh,
Right.
call back later. Oh, it's really busy right now. Oh, the system is down. Oh, right. And eventually,
I'm blessed on that side because I deal with a very short number of people, and they're all big up to a shop called Quest in Redlands and
Nice.
Upland, California.
nice.
I sell a book, they're sending me my money via
Way
PayPal.
to
They're
be
not
on
even
that.
talking to me. They're
Yeah.
sending me my money via PayPal in like
Right.
2 weeks time.
I mean, okay, so that's good, but that's
But I
when-
can't do that on a grand scale, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like, if you were dealing with 300 stores, how many of those stores do you think would do that for you? Right.
I
And
ain't
then
got the
how
time to
many,
follow.
right. And how many of those stores are just going to stiff you?
Right.
Right. So it's that type of question. So Diamond does serve a purpose. The tough part about it is, like Matt says, is they've had their day, they've had their time. Now, what do they transform into? Right. What they're back into the pupa stage. They're back in the chrysalis. What's going to come out? Are we going to end up with a monster, or are we going to end up with a butterfly? I mean, I don't know. Right.
Oh,
So-
you tripped over yourself, man. You had those Gremlins references coming, then you brought Butterfly to me. Come on. Mogwai
Mothra,
Gremlin.
Mothra,
Come on.
There you go. Mothra. But I'm just saying though, it's what are we going to end up? We don't know. Right. Because if they go out of business, it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be catastrophic, but it's going to be bad. It's going to especially be bad for companies like AP. It's going to become what is it? AP, probably even Avatar, because I don't think they're in Lunar.
I think like
was it Red
AWA,
5? You know,
Red 5.
Yeah,
companies
anyone that's
like
not
that.
already in Lunar is going to have a hard time.
Right.
Exactly. So and I mean, and the thing is a lot of people got their start at AP. Where these new heads are going to go, right? Even Avatar is one of these companies that are brought in a lot of new people, and Red 5 can be said the same thing. So it's just like, where are these people going to go, right? I've had my time. Tom's had his time. Most of the people here have been around long enough that we've made our mark a little bit, but those kids who are coming up, because here, look, I know there's not going to be a lot of kids reading Spider-Man, but there's going to be a weirdo who's going to want to do his own book at the age of 21, right? He's going to come out of high school or whatever. He's going to want to make his book, and he's going to be like, there's no industry left, and that's the sad state that we're going to be.
That's where we point to Carissa,
right?
And we say you can do 0 to 60. It takes work, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes
Credit cards.
Takes that, but you can do it. So again, industry, right, is sort of a really vague term, and
Carissa,
there's the LCS industry, the retail industry, and then there's the creative industry. And within the creative industry, there are far more doors available to us now than there were back in the days where Diamond was the only game in town.
Yeah, Sarah, most of us don't consider Image indie, and they're with a company called Lunar, so they're fine. Those guys are fine. They're gonna be okay. Yeah, no, they know, and they're actually not using Diamond anymore. They're going through a company called Lunar. And if you ever do need a comic shop to go to, I would say just go online either to Midtown Comics or DCBS. You just order your books from them at a discount. Yeah. Anyway, Jay, it's up to you, brother.
All right, cool. So the rumor is there's approximately 6,000 to 10,000 people using crowdfunding right now, right? There's never been an actual solid number, but these are what pundits are playing around with. So my question is, with these smaller publishers that are only in Diamond, if they choose to use crowdfunding, will they be eating up that real estate, that consumer base, or will they be bringing new consumers with them to these crowdfunding platforms?
All right, Jay, before we start, I just want you to clarify just a little bit. 6,000 to 10,000 actual buyers or people producing? Okay, buyers, not actual publishers.
Okay, that's why I use consumer base. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Tom, you're up, sir.
None of these publishers are bringing any sort of specific significant numbers to crowdfunding. The only thing that brings things to crowdfunding is like when Keanu Reeves is here, or if they're doing something like Power Rangers or Godzilla or whatever. That has a gigantic fan base that could potentially shift over if the people involved are like, hey, we're doing this thing. But Transformers, Dynamite just did a Transformers card thing that made like $1 million. Transformers has a fan base that will come here. If you're like, oh, Scout Comics is gonna, go to Kickstarter. Okay, those fans are probably already here because most of those books that Scout produces, for example, were Kickstarters that then went to market through Scout. Right. So a lot of those publishers aren't going to have any effect. I mean, there are some, like, for example, Zenescope has a fan base. So they come in, they do statues and toys, and they do all kinds of crap on Kickstarter. So they bring their fans with them. That's so it's going to be very specific who is able to actually bring eyeballs to the platform. And I'm okay with eyeballs, like bring all the eyeballs you want to bring. But it's not going to be like, hey, these various Vault and whoever show up and eyeballs come. No, that's not going to happen. What was the second part of the question?
No, will they bring him in or will they?
Oh, was it the second part of the question was are they going to eat up space? And to some degree, yes. But I mean, that's just market. That's every market. That's making comics. That's making toys. That's making movies. That's making TV. That's everything. There will always be something in your space. So again, that's the noise, right? You have to find a way to make yourself sit above the noise. And part of that is bringing your own audience and maintaining your own audience. So that if you've got 400 guys that are going to come every single time, boom, then you can pull a few guys out of the noise. Hey, here's 10 or 20 more guys that just come out of the noise, and now they know who you are. You can grow yourself and start to set yourself above all of that. So but here's the other thing. Kickstarter, crowdfunding in general, it's an infrastructure that most people aren't ready for. And even if somebody shows up and they're like, well, we're going to do crowdfunding now, this is what we're going to do, they're going to be in for a big learning curve.
Yep.
Unless they've really done a lot of, upfront research on what it is we have to do. How do we present it? What's the back end? What are the surveys? Who's going to ship this stuff? Who's going to actually stand at a table and ship this stuff? They're going to be in for a rude awakening in a lot of cases. And so that's why I think that crowdfunding, Kickstarter specifically, has not really reached like the 400 active level. Like the highest I've ever seen is about 370-ish, like live active at one time. But usually it hangs around 250. And that's normal. That's not changing. The spikes where they happen in the year, that's changing. That's interesting. I've been watching that, but it really always kind of comes back down. So if all of a sudden Diamond was dead and all of these creators sort of had to go to crowdfunding, we might see that spike. We might reach 400 for a period of time. But again, once the infrastructure kicks in, where they're all like, oh Jesus, I made $2,000 and now I got to spend $2,000 in shipping alone. That's going to send a lot of people back out of that space. So yeah.
All right, cool. Carissa, what are you thinking?
No idea. You're asking me if having more people on Kickstarter is going to help with our Kickstarter, like Indie's Kickstarter. I mean, they're probably spending all their money on the covers over at, whatever. I don't think they're really generally my audience, but the more people they bring to Kickstarter, the more chance they'll see mine pop up. So can't hurt. They're either not my reader to begin with, or they become my reader because they're there. So it's not bad for me.
All right, fair enough. Matt, what are you thinking?
So I think, like Tom was saying, to build on that, I think that a lot of times what you see on the comic store shelf and what you get out of a Kickstarter campaign from somebody like us, they might look the same, but it's a totally different experience. If somebody backs a comic from Insymmetry Creations, no matter what the title is, you're going to be in the thank you list in the back of the book. And that's just a small thing, but there's some people are like, dude, my name is in. I know people that literally have like gone to their relatives and been like, my name is in this comic book, or I'm drawn into this comic book. What about you? And I'm cool like that. And there's a personal experience there. People are willing to pay a little bit more for the personal experience of being involved in the campaign to get that issue. They might be willing to go to the comic book store and pay $4 or $5 to get a disposable comic, so to speak, off the shelf. Are they going to go, well, I need to go pay, I'm going to go pay $12 or $15 for this Spider-Man every 4 weeks? They might not do that. Or for the 8 different Spider-Men that are out there, they might not go to Kickstarter to do that. They might just go for the collectibles. So I don't think in that respect that competition is going to be there. I feel like if you're going to have some of the creators from working, I don't want to say working behind the scenes, but from being behind the scenes and seeing how some creators' mindsets are that get signed to comic publishers. I've been around people that are like, oh, I didn't know I needed to have a web presence for my own title. I thought the publisher was going to do it all. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, you don't even have an email address set up or any kind of social media. That's insane. I think for people like that, they're going to just disappear. And maybe that's a good thing for the industry. If they're waiting for the publisher to do everything, they're not going to be hurting us because they're not going to bring a single person to the platform. Nobody's going to go. They're going to have a Kickstarter that's probably going to raise $300 and it's going to fail because you have to bring an audience there, or you have to take the audience that's there and get them excited about your product. Do we need to find better ways to be able to engage? And I say we, meaning like me personally and Sim personally. Yeah, because where we're at right now on Kickstarter is not where we want to be, but is anybody really where they want to be? Everybody wants to be doing better than they are right now. Yeah. But I think there's going to be more titles out there, more noise, but I think that it's going to be few and far between in the short term, where you're going to get lost in that noise if you already have a presence.
All right, fair enough. Cool. Marcus, what are you thinking?
Let's see. This one is tough because you would like to think that a rising tide lifts all ships, but in practice, especially with Kickstarter, with this whole crowdfunding is its own beast, you know. And I think we've seen from experience, like, hell, we just came off of a situation where we had Iberian Chapter 3 up, and say we have Heavy Metal, who's launching their project up at the same time. We have quite a lot of overlap. The people who like Iberian are people who love Heavy Metal, and you would think if Heavy Metal's there doing gangbusters, and I got a project that's like a 1-to-1 relation to what they got going on, naturally that will boost my visibility and my presence up too. And I'll maybe, you know, steal a little bit of those people off that are going to that. Maybe, who knows? I don't know, 50 of the thousands that are back in that project will come over and back Iberian. No, it doesn't. It's really is a matter of audiences and bringing in audiences. Now you may get 1 or 2 people maybe that did that, and over time that's cool. So it doesn't have an immediate effect, but it does have a long-term effect of people who may not have normally gone into crowdfunding are now more familiar with the process and with the platform, who will then come back and engage with it again, and really just normalize it as a means of going direct to customer. And I think that's the most important function right there. And I've seen that happen a bit over the course of me doing things in comics. I remember when, you know, we first did our first Kickstarter, and I was talking to people cons about it. I'm like, hey, you guys on Kickstarter, you check it out. And they're like, what's Kickstarter? Now it's like I ask people like, hey, you back anything on Kickstarter? You seen us on Kickstarter? Like, oh, I haven't seen that, but yeah, I'm on Kickstarter. I back some stuff. Like the conversation is completely different now, because with all the influx of people doing it and big publishers doing it, it's been normalized. So the more that happens, the more it is going to become normal. And now you got Kickstarter integrating Shopify with it to basically make it as storefronts, was essentially what, you know, indie comics has been using it for a while in the way right now. So there's the potential to do that. I wish there was more overlap to that, but it is really how you grow your base. And I see that as a publisher too. And I tell people that I work with, like, you don't have much of a presence. Like, I like the book, you know, we're going to do it. Like, you know, I'm down for it because I believe in it. But you're nowhere to be found on the internet. I still have, you know, people, artists and stuff like who are great. That's the thing. Like, they're brilliant, awesome artists, awesome writers who are not engaged online. So I'm like, so you're minimizing yourself. Like, you're gonna have success because Odyssey's audience is gonna be in the whatever basement that we have for crowdfunding right now, $3,000, whatever the case may be. That's what it's gonna do. That's all I can promise you is the basement, because the one thing that I see that lifts everything up consistently is creator engagement. And if that's not there, then I can only do so much. I can only spend so much money on advertising. I can only throw in so many, or I can only like have so much of a budget for a project. Like, I can't bend myself over a barrel to get one thing going, to try to get a person more money who isn't engaged in the process. So that is really the thing that people have to consider is, yeah, big people may come and go. They'll have experience with this. Some will probably drop off, like Tom said, because they realize that, whoa, this Kickstarter stuff is cool when you're collecting all the money. Then when you're getting all that stuff together, and you got to figure out the supply chain portion of it, and that starts kicking the ass. You start thinking about things a little bit differently, and that might be tough for an entity that's not familiar with it, where they're just happy, you know, in the past shipping their stuff to the distributor and going for it. So there's going to be that curve, but it's also going to be something that, yeah, you gotta kind of be on the ground floor. You gotta build it up from wherever you start at, doing $200, $500 campaigns. Do that. You know, we diversify things a little bit, so we're starting to do gaming and tabletops and all sorts of stuff like that. Well, now you're really talking, because you're talking about supplementing what you already do and going on and off between, whether you're doing comics, whether you're doing something else. Hell, explore novels. Like, do whatever you can do to not just like focus on the comic side, but like put yourself out there as a creator. Collaborate with other people, like participate in other things. Like, you know, it's real simple, cheap, free, and easy stuff if you can find it out there and make it work. But yeah, this is going to be one of those things where I think you'll probably see this coalescence and like more people try to do it. Then you're going to see a lot of people just kind of fade off into the sunset, unfortunately.
All right, cool.
Hell, I've been in the gaming shops where like 90% of what is on their shelves is Kickstarter stuff.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting to see how people are moving out of that sphere and into the mainstream. But Jay, so what was your question again?
I don't fucking remember.
Yeah. You write anything down, Jay?
No, come on, man. No, it is. Will the independent, or the small press publishers who are in Diamond, who are moving to crowdfunding, eat up the consumer base, or will they bring new users with them?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought I heard. So, I mean, I'm of two minds because the thing is like if you're talking, I mean, Scout doesn't look like they're with us anymore. I don't know what's going on with them, but take a company like Red 5 or even Antarctic Press, right? Antarctic Press puts out 10 books a month. Are they going to run 10 Kickstarters? I mean, I don't think so. Right.
Well, but none of that belongs to AP.
Right.
That's all individual creators that they're publishing.
They have like one or two titles. Like they have Ninja High School, which is theirs.
But that's Ben. Ben is doing that himself.
Right. And then their anthologies, but which are also in by other people.
Right.
But I'm just curious, like, would they, you know, would that be the next level? Okay. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, but you know, but there are also some places like Red 5 that they, you know, I don't see their books any place other than previews, right? Like there's some books you don't see any place but in previews, right? They don't go on Kickstarter, they don't go on Indiegogo, they don't go in these other spheres, right? So, you know, are people going to just like start, you know, crowdfunding? Like, could you ever imagine Dark Horse releasing 30 books a month? No, it's never going to happen, right? So, you know, how you know, they can only do one book a month if even that, right? And then, you know, as far as them bringing in a crowd, it'd be nice, you know, like everybody's saying, but could they really do it? You know, I mean, we'll see. Carissa had to go; she wasn't feeling well. Sorry about that, Carissa.
Hope you feel better, Carissa.
Yeah, feel better.
Well,
Listen,
again, it takes an entity to come to the platform to bring the eyeballs with it. Dark Horse technically is an entity, but even Dark Horse is really guys publishing under Dark Horse. Is Mike Mignola.
Right.
If Mike Mignola comes to Kickstarter, that brings eyeballs.
Yeah.
If Dark Horse is like, hey, we're going to do a thing. It'll depend on who's connected to it. But if it's just like, you know, hey, Dark Horse is bringing all of these fools on the screen to do a thing, no one's going to care. Like, we'll bring our own audience to it, but like the general world is going to be like, who are these fruits? You know?
Yeah, but at that point, it's like you said earlier, or I think Marcus said years ago, why do you need the middleman at that point, right? Because Mike Mignola has done his own. He's done a campaign, or at least one that I know of, because I have the book. But so I mean,
sure, if he, of course, any of these guys could come and do it themselves for sure. Right. But again, some of these guys do it with other people because they don't want the infrastructure part of it. They want to be like, hey, you guys do it. I'm going to come promote it for you guys, but you guys do it. I want you guys to pack and ship and deal with the printers and do all of that stuff. And that's why we see people nowadays that they think that the publisher does everything. They're like, well, I want a publisher because the publisher does everything. Well, no, they don't. They don't do anything. You still have to literally do everything. The only thing they're going to do is send orders to a printer and send those copies to Diamond.
Wait,
that's
what?
All they're going to do.
Is that true? Because that is not the reality. I've been. How did I screw myself like this?
If you're under a publisher, if you're going to Dark Horse and Dark Horse is like, hey, cool, we'll put you in the Diamond, and then they tell you to print your own books and send them somewhere, something's wrong.
Yeah,
something's really wrong because what are they doing to get their percentage of anything at that point?
Right. Yeah. So look, I wanted to answer. John asked, "What's the average, I guess, age of a Kickstarter comic creator?" I would say at least 30, because you need someone with a credit card. and you need someone who's into it, I would say at minimum 30, probably 35 though.
Yeah, I think it's probably. I think it's
late 20s to early 30s is sort of a sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the difference is the reason why manga trend tends to go a lot younger is you can go into like any store anywhere and go get manga. You can go on to Webtoon and you can read manga there. To be on Kickstarter, like you said, you got to have a credit card. You got to be able to say, do I want to pay X this and X that plus the shipping? Is it going to be worth the investment? You have to think a little bit more, which you're going to have somebody's going to be thinking a lot more about how to spend their money and be a little bit better.
All right, cool. All right, let me pull up Carissa's campaign real quick. I'm just going to show it off. So
12,000. Shit.
look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Look at it. She got a little bump there. She has 254 backers. So she's doing great. She's a fantastic book. Carissa's a very cool person. She has a lot of perks. She has a, fantastic looking cover. Who is this? I don't know who this guy is.
Derek Chu.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Derek Chu is who is bringing a lot of the eyeballs, bringing a lot of the the dogs to the yard, so to speak, which is good. With this one, so with this title as opposed to her other title, she's up to what 13, 14, something like that. With this one, she wanted to do a Western version and do the #1, and she's been promoting the fact that she was going to do this for months and months. So kind of organically, she was running another campaign. Hey, I'm going to be doing this Western one in January. I'm doing this other campaign. I'm going to be doing this Western one in January. And so she had the ability to like take her fan base from her other title and really help shift them over here and actually grow them a lot more. She spent a lot of money on that cover. She was able to put a #1 out there. She's able to pull her other audience over there, which is part of the reason why that thing is just taken off.
Yeah. So look, I mean, go check it out. She's not feeling well right now, so I want to send her some love. All right. So
There you go.
All right. And, and we all know how comics are. We have very few prospects.
Always trying for a transition here. What's going on?
There you go. I was trying, but it's a perilous thing. There you go.
I knew as soon as you said perilous, it was coming my way.
There you go. So, Matt, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, you can play the video, and the music that's on there is music that's used by permission, so we do have the rights to use it.
Nice.
Cool.
Man, I was feeling that. I was waiting for like a little belly dancer to come out of one.
So the guy that does it, his name is Eldvark, and he actually plays all like the old school medieval instruments. He actually has like the full wooden hurdy-gurdies and things like that. So that's not like just pulling up sound patches like I do and most other people do. He's legit playing those things, which is pretty impressive.
Nice.
Very much.
So Heirs of Isildur, the Perilous Prospects, book 4 of 5. This is the start of the end game, the start of the final scene in the Perilous Prospects story arc, where it says that the end isn't just near, the end begins here. Issue 4 and issue 5 are basically the full final act of the story. The apocalypse has come to the town of Shadowshaven, and the only way to stop it might be through those who accidentally caused it. You saw the 8 faces that were there at the one spot in the video. That's Professor Michael Isildur, and there's a bunch of people that have assembled around him. Some have been pulled in through portals from other times and eras that are kind of a found family. Others were people that were done wrong by the town of Shadowshaven back in the day, and they've all kind of assembled in this very weird kind of concoctive stew. They all have the same goals and are all trying to help to save the town. So right here you see we've got a crossover with Stabity Bunny. That's actually Richard from Richard Rivera. Stabity Bunny is now completely in the indies. For those of you that know Stabity Bunny's publishing history, it is completely independently produced now. We're doing a metal trading card series. We had Josh Menendez do the art for us. So if you back Heirs of Isildur physically, you get the card that has Michael Isildur on it. If you back Stabity Bunny, you get the card that has Grace. If you back both campaigns physically, you also get the middle card that has Stabity Bunny himself trying to get pulled in through a rogue portal from Heirs of Isildur. So with that, we found a way to be able to combine the different IPs from the different entities together to make that one graphic there. So it wasn't just a print. We wanted to do something that was going to be good and collectible for everybody, so they'd want to be incentivized to back both campaigns.
Cool. Very nice.
So we have 4 different covers on this campaign. We do have one that is an homage cover to Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. We have an homage with everyone in the series, so we wanted to keep going on with that. We have another one from Chess and Gwen, who is our sister duo. That is the manga team that they've done now. They've done 5 covers with us, and so they have one in here. We've got a lot of support merch. We always like having fun stuff. We have our 7th variation of socks in this campaign. We always do socks. We have shirts like the one I'm wearing. We have poker chips. This is going to be the first time we've done a set of poker chips for Heirs of Isildur. If you missed our previous campaigns, we do have our collectible colored vinyl for the mellow music that we write and produce that actually ties into the different stories as well. Right there you can see the shirts, you can see the socks, and then you can see the poker chips we have for Heirs. If you're somebody that's new to the Heirs of Isildur universe, not only do we have here's the general synopsis of what's going on in the story, we also provide a reading order. So if you want to do more than just get this issue, you can see how the other titles in this series play in. You can also see how the other extensions like I Am Keto and Tales from Nocturnia play in as well.
Cool. So, I mean, how many issues is the series? Is this particular, because I know it's a bunch of different series, but how many issues in this particular arc?
So Perilous Prospects is going to be 5. This is issue 4 of 5. And basically, because of the other titles we do, there's only been 1 a year for Heirs. But this one, the final piece there's going to be 2 this year. It's going to be 1 now and 1 over the summer. We have 2 other Kickstarters we're going to run for 2 other titles that are going to be in March and May. And before the end of this campaign, we're going to have those things hopefully active so that way people can go and follow them as well. But we definitely will be back. This issue ends in a huge cliffhanger. And we say issue, it's always a perfect bound book. Every one of these is 44 to 56 pages. They all have a spine on them, so that way they'll display nicely on your bookshelf next to all your manga issues and your trade paperbacks. So this one's going to be 44 pages, perfect bound. And then the final one is going to be 44 or 48 pages as well.
Very nice. Cool. All right. So I know normally Steph is here with us. She couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah, she wasn't able to make tonight. She was bummed. She really wanted to be on the show, and so give a shout out to her. She had something come up that she had to take care of. But yeah, she definitely pretend I'm Steph and pretend I'm a lot shorter and pretend I'm a lot tinier and pretend I've got much more hair than I do and pretend that I'm Steph, saying she wants you to go to tinyurl.com/AirsTPP4. That's tinyurl.com AirsTPP4 to back us. And you can go to Stabity EA1 at TinyURL to go back Stabity Ever After #1 as well.
All right, cool. Now, how did you guys come to that? I guess that meeting of the minds, where it's like you guys were like, all right, let's do this crossover and make this card and do this.
Well, Richard is a really good friend of ours. For those that know, Richard used to be behind the scenes. He used to be an executive actually with one of the publishers that was mentioned on here earlier. He's not anymore, and we had a title that was on that publisher as well. And so we've just been good friends with Richard. We've done a lot of shows with him. We've worked a lot with him. He's done a lot of stuff to help us out, and we wanted to do something that was going to just help both campaigns, and that would work, that would be on brand for them both. And we have more experience on the Kickstarter side than he does, and so we thought it was going to be a good way for us to be able to get some strength in numbers, so to speak.
All right, cool. Listen, I think it's an awesome idea. You guys did a good job.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very much, and I hope you guys will go and check it out. We're only about $600 away from minimum funding, and minimum funding doesn't really mean anything because that's just where stretch goals come in and the excitement comes in. We have a lot of fun things we want to do. We only ran this campaign for 16 days because we don't want to have that middle dead period anymore. We want to just get it up there, get it done, snap your fingers, campaign is over. So if you want to back the thing, you want to get in now, and we'll go from there.
All right, cool. Let's go. I mean, look, you got 70 backers, 11 days. You're almost there. What, 82%? I don't think you're gonna have any issues getting there. So, yeah.
Well, I hope so. I hope so, because if you've not stepped into our apocalyptic sci-fi universe set in a steampunk world, we think this is a story that you're going to want to escape into, and we think there's going to be characters that you can relate to. That doesn't mean it's like a bunch of archetypes across the board where, I'm this very one type of person, and there's going to be this one character for me. We think you can find ways you can relate to pretty much anybody in there. There's going to be something in that character that you can look at in yourself and say, I've kind of gone through that in my life, or maybe I've had that kind of decision that I've had to make, and you're going to find a way to be able to relate to them as well, which is one of the things that people really appreciate about the stories that we put together, is we try to make all the characters have some kind of relatability to you in the real world.
Everybody, go check out this book, Ezra Isildur. Like I said, I don't know. Because I know I stole Daphne's copies.
It's okay. We'll allow you to steal them. We'll allow you.
All right, I stole her copies. I don't know if she ordered this batch. I gotta see. All right, but yeah, this looks awesome, man. I mean, you guys have been at this. How long have you and Steph been doing this?
We started working together in January of 18. We both were doing stuff prior to that, but we started putting our heads together in January of 18. So yeah, we definitely got a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of we have, like I said, we have three titles we're going to have Kickstarters for this year. We already know what the next two are going to be, and we are super stoked to be able to get all these different things out there into the market.
Cool. And if you don't mind me asking, about how many conventions do you do a year?
We used to do about 20 to 25, but conventions could also be a one-day comic book store signing or a one-day at a mall show. It doesn't always mean larger shows. I think this year is probably going to be a little bit less because in the industry right now, a lot of the shows are really jacking up the price for you to be able to get there. I know that if you're somebody that attends MegaCon in Florida, MegaCon last year for vendors was like $40 a day just to park.
Ouch.
And I'm like, if you're paying $40 a day just to park, you still have to rent a hotel room. You got to pay $700 for your Artist Alley table. I'm like, you got to be slinging a lot of stuff just to break even. And I'm like, if you're just breaking even, you can sit on your couch for the same exact price and not go through all that trouble. So we try to be strategic about what we're doing.
Oh, no, I got you. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So go check out Ezra Isildur. Awesome book.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. All right, Marcus, you're up. Oh, wait a second.
With his book.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I didn't see this.
To the wolves like that. Come on.
I know. Get this guy,
Oh, my God. No transition.
Nothing.
Okay, we're doing a special
thing
because I gave JD early access to share the campaign.
Is that what happened?
Because we're not live yet. So he can actually do a private preview of what we got so far. So this is something I want to do because the campaign page is about 80% there. I'm still chipping away at it, but it's going to have the majority of things that we go through. So we've been talking up this one for pre-launch for a while. This is Slight Return, a supernatural rock and roll thriller. This comes courtesy of scribe Rob Pilkington and artist Heather Vaughn. This follows the story of Theo Van Every, who's a bit of an entitled rock star brat who decides to go to her family's Louisiana mansion to do a little R&R, work on her next project, only to discover that maybe a little bit something sinister is afoot there. So this is going to be our first project in 2025. We're launching out, and between Odyssey and Paradox we got going right now, this is the 17th or 18th campaign that we've done. So we're starting to get up there in the number count right now. So this is going to be a 48-page graphic novel, not quite a full-length graphic novel, but not quite like, you know, a shorter one-shot. It's kind of in that, I think, kind of sexy, like in-between spot. So where it feels like a good chunky read, but doesn't take too long. And of course, you know, not quite as expensive for us to produce too. So we're going to be trying to come in and give people like a little bit something different with this one.
Oh, cool. Now, okay, so now you have your business model. So you're a publisher.
Yep.
For other creators, right? And you know, you're in here and always welcome all the time. Now, I'm curious, like, how do you find projects, and how do projects find you?
It's a little bit of back and forth. One is that Odyssey is different because we take open submissions all the time. So you can just go on odyssey.com, go to our submissions page. You got an idea, you can fire it off to me. Usually I try to be good and get back to everyone, but you know, it becomes harder as more stuff goes on. But as we started to go through some of the things here too, this is too, if we could double back. And I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but yeah, we're doing our hardcover edition that we're going to have coming out. That's going to be a key thing for us because the hardcovers is kind of what we start pivoting towards too with the direct market. So after this campaign that's successful, like this will probably be the version that you'll actually see in stores and will pop up and become available. So our pipeline from Kickstarter to direct market is very linear, and we're trying to do a very particular kind of book that we cater into the direct market, going more for standard book distribution retail than comic shop retail, and try to make a book I think that's like a little bit different. That's floppies are hard sometimes, especially in the indie market. It seems like people are kind of starting to move away from them in some respects. I've noticed that cons is becoming harder and harder to do it. So what I noticed is that it's easier for me to sell a graphic novel at $15, $20, $25 than it is for me to sell a $5 comic book. And it's a crazy thing. And some shops now straight up telling me they won't even take floppies anymore. They only want trades. They only want graphic novels from the indies. So it's a sort of cater both where the audiences are going to and what some of the retailers are going to. We're going to be doing more. Of course, we were always going to collect our trade paperbacks together, but we're going to be doing more projects that are both attractive in the vein for Kickstarter for our direct-to-customer model and attractive for readers and retailers in the direct market too.
All right, cool. So yeah. I mean, are you doing? I mean, is it obviously there's a huge price point issue, you know, between a floppy and a hardcover? Is that like the main reason you're doing that?
Not really. Thankfully, with our print network, we could do things pretty economically, and some of that value we get to pass back down to the consumer too. So while some people, you know, maybe a floppy from Kickstarter will cost you $15, you know, they'll be able to get either a paperback for I think $20 in this campaign, or you'll be able to get the hardcover edition. I think it starts at $35, bundled with the digital PDF and everything too. So it's, I think, for people who want that more premium book, who want that more premium feel, and also something they can knock around. You can shove it in your backpack. You can lend it to a friend. You can put it on your shelf. It doesn't have to stay in a long box or anything like that. Could be a more attractive book with them. And we experimented with this when we did Iberian Curse of the Crown, and the hardcovers come in heavy for us, and people really, really do like getting that hardcover book, and they will spend the extra amount of money to have that over doing a paperback or having several floppies they have to get.
Okay, cool. Now, just out of curiosity, you printing domestically or you going overseas?
We do either or, depending on where the volume at. My domestic print network is cheap enough and affordable enough for me. I could do it domestically, no problem with Kickstarter proceeds. If we really, really like knock it out of the ballpark where we are hitting that volume and where we could go overseas, then it will go that way.
All right, cool. All right, listen, great stuff. And when do you plan to launch?
This is going to be launching the 21st, so it's going to be launching Tuesday morning, most likely. I think we got all our variant covers for view available right now, and I've already, introduced the teams for them. So I think our cover B is coming from Matthias Villalba. So he's another creator that I sort of found, and I'm always skulking around. I tell people, like, if you're posting stuff on Reddit, Facebook, and stuff like that, don't think you're posting a void, because I save all that shit. And when I find someone that I like to work with, then I go back to them, and those are the people that I bring aboard. We also got Kelsey Ramsey. People might be familiar with her from Doctor Who over at Dark Horse and Good Deeds. She's doing the cover C. We got Alex Ekman-Lawn, who's done Cyberpunk 2077. He's done a lot of graphic work with Smashing Pumpkins. He's doing Spectrograph over at Distillery. He's doing a print for us, and we're also going to have a T-shirt available for it. And of course, we got Flops. He's doing 2 prints for us that we're going to have available too. And this is the really cool thing. We're having a giveaway because the whole story revolves around this white guitar that supposedly, rumor has it, the devil forged himself. That becomes the central topic of the book. So in spirit with that, we're working to do this giveaway. So every physical backer that backs the book, they're going to get entered into a raffle to win the guitar along with a distortion pedal. And I got a few extra things sent around too. And for anybody wondering, guitar box is right here, so you can't see it because it's stupid background. But yeah, we got it. It's in house. It's ready to go. Packed up for whoever's going to be the winner on that one. Hopefully, I don't break it because it falls down back there. So yeah, we're trying to do just a little bit something special. We usually do a backer or like a follower giveaway on like Twitter or something like that every year. I think one year we did like a Nintendo Switch. One year we did something else. So just like a little bit, as I try to keep some money to the side to do something cool for the people that support us. Just outside of thinking, this year we just combined doing this Kickstarter, which really kind of represents like a new direction for us, and like definitely working with like a certain vibe and a certain collaboration, because this is one of those things where Rob brought it to me. He was already a part of Critical Mass, and he just really liked working in the Odyssey ecosystem and liked how we developed our books and how we put teams together and got things done, and really let them have like a lot of control and say so in how things go. And he pitched me this book, and then the second I saw it, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. So we brought it in and we developed it, and now it's ready to go.
All right, cool. So there it is. Tuesday morning, everybody. Go check it out.
I already got you followed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right. Marcus, you're up. What's your question?
My question: we know a lot of changes naturally are going to be coming up for comics and indie comics as whole. I want to turn it to the panel and ask everyone, what do you think changes need to be made, or the changes that need to be made in comics are for industry to have more success, not just in 2025, but going forward into the future?
All right, cool. Matt, you're up.
Well, I think some of the things that need to change are things that we don't have any real control over, but who knows, with all the other things that are going on in social media right now, who the heck knows what's going to come out the other side. Being able to promote your title through social media in ways that don't get hidden and thwarted and put basically into the digital garbage can is going to be huge, because if you're on Facebook, your posts get downvoted. If you send an email, if you send out your own newsletter, it goes into like the updates folder on Gmail. There's like just stuff goes into so many places where people don't even know. So then you feel like, well, I've got to go and promote it more through more different platforms. Then you have that one dude that's like, I've just got this same thing at 7 different times in 7 different ways. You're driving me nuts. But you have somebody else inevitably that's going to say, oh, I didn't even know you had a new title out. When did this happen? Because most people just don't even see it. So to me, I think that finding ways for there to be more effective promotion that doesn't come into the pay to play arena where you've got to boost your post on Instagram, you got to boost your post on Facebook. If there was a way for that to happen, I think that would be great.
All right, cool. Tom, what are you thinking?
Yeah, none of that's going to happen, Matt. Sorry.
Of course it isn't.
None
But
of
I can
that's
speak
gonna-
in I can speak in a utopian view.
Yeah,
It's
social
not going to
media-
happen because they want you to get on their advertising paid ad.
That's
platform.
correct. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, so that's pie in the sky. We love it. We all agree with that. That's not going to happen. It does need to be fixed, but the powers that be are going to fix that. And the one app that does actually do what it's supposed to be is the one that the government decided they wanted to ban. Because Chinese people are getting our data from the wrong place. They're supposed to get their data from Facebook and Meta, not from over there.
People are saying that it's back up.
It is back, but it's a different show. It is back, but it is not back. If you did not have it, you cannot go get it right now. It's technically, yeah. But again, that was the one place that actually worked, that you could actually train the algorithm to work for you. And government doesn't want that. Government doesn't want free floating ideas. We've probably been shadow banned on this show as of right now. We're probably off the air and it's gone. So I'm sorry about that, but this is the truth. And they want your advertising dollars. Facebook wants you to pay to have your stuff, reach the people that want to follow you. It's all fucked, guys. It's all fucked. So what needs to change is kind of like what I talked about earlier, is you personally have to change. You have to take yourself out of the noise. You have to take yourself a little more seriously, maybe. And when I say you, I mean me too. Don't get this twisted. This is me too, kind of figuring some things out. You have to take yourself out of the noise. You have to elevate what you're doing. You have to be consistent with what you're doing. One of the ways that you can sort of help yourself as far as people knowing what's coming is plan way out and tell people that it's happening. Don't just be like, well, we're going to launch, I don't know, April, May, June, sometime. No, it's June 3rd. We're doing it June 3rd. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make an alteration. If something happens, you need to make an alteration. But if you at least have a focal point in your followers' head, June 3rd, June 3rd, June 3rd. Well, it's going to be the 5th. Okay, the 5th. Fine. You're at least in that zone, right? Consistency, planning ahead, and just elevating how you do. I've talked about branding yourself over and over again. There's too many people that still are posting shit that don't even have their logo on it. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at, guys. So it may be a cool image, but what the hell am I looking at? Anything that you can do to make somebody click on your event or your Kickstarter or whatever it is, just fucking load it up with your branding. You are never going to see a Pepsi ad that doesn't say buy Pepsi. It's not going to say, here's a cola. No, it's going to be Pepsi. It's going to be the logo. They're going to tell you over and over and over again. So brand yourself and level up yourself as an entity, whether it's an entity as a creator and a artist or writer or whatever, whether it's an entity as a publisher, an entity as a specific title in a book. Everything needs to just sort of level up to become. We live in a visual age. We live in a headline society. They don't want to know what's inside. They want to know the title. They want to see the picture, and that's how they determine if they're going to click on it. So if they don't have all the information, they're not going to click on it. So help yourself out in that regard. And that'd be about it. That's what I think you got to do. Is it's got to be an inner focus. You can't change social media. You can't change Diamond. You can't change what retailers are going to buy or not going to buy. All you can do is affect the customer base to potentially have a better chance to buy what it is that you're trying to put in their hands. So bring your focus inward. The industry, again, listen, the industry of all industries, it's all collapsing. All of it. Stores are closing, Party City's gone, restaurants are closed. It's all going away because so much of it can just be done at home. People can just sit at home and literally click on a button and be like, I want that book. I want that book. I want that book. That's it. That's all they got to do. They don't have to get in a car, spend gas, drive 45 minutes to a store, come back. It's all changing, and it's not just comics. Everything from a brick and mortar type of situation is changing. And the brick and mortar people need to do the same thing. They need to focus inward. They need to figure out how to bring people to their stores. They need to say, look, we're doing events at this comic book store, whether it's gaming, whether it's store signings, whether it's, whatever it happens to be, sort of mini conventions within their stores. Everything has to be sort of level yourself up first. Yes, we talk about the rising tide and all that kind of stuff, and to a degree that works. But if you yourself are not, building yourself a better boat, then you're relying on everybody else to do the work.
That's true. And a rising tide can't sink a ship. Anyway.
If you're tied down too tight, yes.
Yep. Jay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, as an industry as a whole, if you're a larger name creator, if you're any creator, you need to keep your dick in your pants. How about that? You need to stop being a fucking sexual predator, because you're costing not just yourself your future, but a lot of other people money. How many books of yours will not get reordered because of the stigma that is attached with your name? So if that's the case, how many people are not going to be getting their residuals? How many shows that can feature comic book properties be axed now because you couldn't keep your dick in your fucking pants, and everybody else that was part of that production team will no longer be working? How many shops that were depending on the sales of your books when the shows were supposed to come up, especially now in this fragile time, will not be sold because you couldn't keep your dick in your fucking pants? That's what needs to one of the things that needs to change to protect the industry. Keep your dick in your fucking pants.
You didn't have to call me out like this on live. Jesus Christ. We'll talk offline about it.
As a matter of fact, he's going to beat you later on. And what do you think is not going to be in his pants?
Right off the bat, production of Good Omens season 3 has been halted. Right? And it's like, really? Fuck. How many people are not going to be out of work? Right? I mean, we already know somebody that did work for Good Omens is doing work now with
I got to edit one of my books and take a quote out of it.
It's like shit, man. Right? But that affects you. There's a trickle down effect, man. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you don't get it. You don't get it. Fucking, you built yourself up to a certain fucking level. Pay attention, man. Because now you have become a brand yourself. And that is going to affect a lot of fucking people, man.
True enough. So, Marcus, for my thing, what was the question again?
What do you think needs to change for comics to have more success in the future?
Wow. I should have paid attention. Well, I think for comics to have success in the future, and specifically indie comics, I mean, Marvel and DC are going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not talking about them.
They're going to be fine. But as far as indie comics, just to continue to perpetuate what guys like us are doing, aside from like what Tom was saying, we have to brand ourselves, we have to find different platforms, we have to look for new avenues. The thing is also it's, I think everyone is right. There are a lot of different things we have to look for, but I'm still stuck on Diamond, right? I'm still stuck on, I want to be in stores. I want to be in the easiest way to get into them was through Diamond, right? Unless you can get into Lunar, of course. But I think the other thing that we really need to focus on is probably just trying to help one another. And like, I don't know, was who mentioned trying to get a group of creators together to actually do something together? Who mentioned that earlier?
Somebody. Psychopath.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, it's difficult. But the thing is that, maybe there is a way for us all to get together to raise all of us up. The problem with that is that, when you have 40, 50 creators, you got 40 or 50 egos, and you got 40 or 50 big ass egos. There's not an ego that's in this 5 people here that can be contained, in anything less than like, a football stadium, right? Because
some of us Some of us are undefeated at trivia. I mean,
that's fair. You know, that's fair. Some of us are willing to allow that to happen.
Some of us made low ball questions so I could keep everybody involved in the trivia. You know what I mean? So, and that's the problem, is that when you have that much ego involved, it's difficult to get that camaraderie really going, because no matter who's at the head, everyone else is going to feel they should be there. Right? You could be the smartest person in the room. Everybody can respect you the hell out of you. Right? And they'll still tell you, well, why is he there? I should be the head. Right?
JD, that's the noise.
Right. That's the noise.
Yeah.
No, I got you. But the thing is, though, is, how do we get rid of the noise from our own skulls? Right? How do you eliminate that? How do you press that down? Right? So that we can work as a group to maybe elevate ourselves. I had posited something that I brought up to Tom, and I brought it to some of the other guys, putting together a paper. But hurting those cats, right? To get that sort of thing off the ground and to get that money together, man, I was just like, am I willing to take that on right now? And I'm like, not really, because I'm running 4 titles, and I'm like, I'm doing it by myself.
That's smart of you to know that's your limitation too.
Right. You understand? I'm like, no, because I'd rather be doing my own stuff. And that's the problem with a lot of us, right? The second we get one thing running that we're like, oh yeah, this is doing well, right? Then we get on to the next. Like, can I make 2 of those? Can I do 3 of those? Can I do 4 of those? Right? So, and I know all of us here, I think, are guilty of that, right?
Well, I think one thing too, that people need to be really honest with themselves and what their product is, and they need to have realistic expectations. How many of the big time titles, if you're thinking about a big comic in your head right now, how many of them are only existing in the space of just the paper comic that you get at a comic book store? Spider-Man has been mentioned on here. Spider-Man has been around for a century. There's movies. There's multiple different variations of movies. There's cartoons. There's toys. There's all these different things. Spider-Man doesn't need a comic to exist and be a wildly popular product. Finding ways to get your IP that is in this paper comic book and getting it in front of other eyes that probably don't give a crap about the paper comic book may be the way to get there to be name recognition. We started putting Misfits Clubhouse onto Webtoon Canvas, which you have to go and completely reformat everything. It's just single scroll. It's just like you get a news story on your phone. You go down there and you do this. It's designed to be a single panel scroll all the way down. We've been doing that just to get a different set of eyes on it. It could be like Jay tried to do. Jay, I know your campaign wasn't successful, but I commend the thought of trying to get into the action figure line. You're trying to do something different, because there could be somebody that's like, well, I don't care about comics, but oh, cool, I can go get, one of your characters. They like your action figure, and that may be the hook that gets them into the other thing. It just may be the thing to put the name out there for name recognition. I can tell you, doing some of the shows that I do where I'm an interviewer, I'm the MC, and I'm up there with people from Scream, and I've got like thousands of people in the audience. I look at some of the people that are there, and they're like, there's people from movies that are 40 years old that people are just dying to go get a signature from. Anybody that was on that movie, because it's name recognition. How many people here even remember Halloween 3? But there is a fan base out there that is literally dedicated to just that movie, because it was such a different type of movie for Halloween. They're dedicated to that because of the name recognition of the Halloween franchise. How can you find a way to get what you're doing? If it only exists in that one paper comic, you're limiting your audience to only ever being that. So that to me is the big thing. How can you break it out of there? That's why I do metal music. That's why there's fans out there that know of our stuff only because they've got the vinyl. And they're like, oh, but there's a comic that goes with this too. That's pretty cool. But they know who the Heirs of Isildur characters are. They know the stories, and they can kind of go from there. That's my soapbox.
Halloween 3, is that the one with the masks?
Yes,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did a panel with
that was my favorite one.
it was the 40-year reunion, 42-year reunion with all the main characters from that. And it was crazy. I did it right after the It guys. So I had a bunch of guys that were late teens, early 20s from It. And the crowd loved them. The next panel was the reunion for Halloween 3. Everybody was in their mid 70s. The audience literally reacted to them both exactly the same because there was a fan base out there that enjoyed that. There was name recognition, and that was really big for me.
Didn't they follow up on the mask in one of the later Halloweens?
They
Or
put
no?
the masks as just Halloween masks in the recent trilogy that they did. They
Yeah.
just had
Okay.
kids in the mask as a
I didn't see it. Yeah.
an Easter egg. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. So before I ask, Tom, do you have a question you want to ask?
Nope.
the panel?
Nope.
You got anything?
No, you know what? I think it's been pretty good so far. These are pretty good so far. I'm good. I'm
Right.
good.
All right. So here's a question for you guys. See, we're talking about Diamond. We're talking about distribution. Have any of you used an alternative distribution source? If you don't mind me asking, what are they? You don't have to divulge it if you don't want to. And do they pay? Right? That's the important part. Do they pay? Has anybody used an alternative distribution source? So, Tom.
I no, but I knew of some that were like trying to get off the ground, and I knew immediately that this was not going to work. And I still see people now that are like, oh, we're just going to do this. We're going to make this happen. This is going to be this indie distribution. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I know this is not going to happen. And I know looking at you, that's not going to happen. It's so much, like we talked about with Kickstarter, there's so much infrastructure involved, so much impossibility almost to do Kickstarters and make it efficient and really do it well. You're talking about wrangling cats to get people to pay for an advertising magazine. Wrangle the cats of 30 publishers to get their books, in on time, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No. I know there are some that exist and have been doing it very, very small quantities in certain regions of the United States. That does exist, but every time I've gotten involved, I've realized it's not going to be worth my time. So I just said no. I'll continue with my direct to customer for the time being, and that's fine.
All right, cool.
The only thing I've seen, which I wouldn't even call it distribution, is I see a lot of the distributors or a lot of the smaller guys doing eBay auctions, doing whatnot, things like that, where it's still going to be direct to consumer, but I've seen them going that route more than trying to find the next distributor because there's going to be more dollars in it for them and whatnot. And it was very, very strict about how you can sell, when you have to ship, the way money's collected, all that. So I've seen people more going away from distribution and going into that realm than trying to find a new way to get your stuff out there to, the comic book store in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Nothing against Sheboygan.
I didn't even know Sheboygan was a place. So, Marcus, what are your thoughts?
So that's a yes for us. We are with Ingram, who's where we're going with for distribution. Of course, Ingram is Ingram Source is a big major distributor for novels and things like that too. Those are tough because you're typically doing print on demand with them until you can get like a volume to get like a better deal with them. But the advantage is that, and how we're making it work for us, is that one, you get to take advantage of the printer network, which is worldwide, and comes in at significantly lower price than it would if you were to go to all the comic book printers that we know. Like, they beat them flat out every single time. And then I own all that too. So I'm the one who's submitting the files, updating everything, getting my ISBNs, doing everything like that. While they take care of all the listings and getting the catalog updates and getting things updated and everything with the retailers. So our first book that we have in is Twilight Custard. So yeah, you go to Barnes and Nobles, you can get that. You get that at Pals, you get it at Walmart, Amazon, weird places like online, like overseas. I never thought. So it's in Croatia, it's like in Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, everything like that. But the tough part of it is, it's still on you to market your book, and you have to understand and have a marketing plan for how you approach it and how you want to do it, because that's going to be limited, of course, by how much time you got, maybe how much money, wherever the case may be. So I'm in the process now of like we're starting to really tune up that thing. Because at first, last year I was like, okay, I did it, see what's working. Okay, we got some sales, things like that. I was getting like my first royalty payments, and then now we're starting to get like our Amazon payments and everything like that. So I'm just trying to see like, okay, how does it work? Where should I be putting the effort into? And surprise, surprise, is Amazon like beats everything out just because of the huge like base that they have. So most of what you move, if you end up getting Amazon listing and they put that up for you, is going to be moving through there. But then you also have other opportunities because, of course, once you're in the stores, they're more eager to partner with you. So if you want to do signings, appearances, go to Barnes and Nobles, have an event, sell some books, get some books stocked, all that stuff becomes more easy for you to do. And then as I'm trying to see, I imagine as you build more of a catalog, that also becomes stronger too for people to do. And it becomes really cool in a way, because one of the things they let you do is build a web link to your catalog, so that if you're going to an LCS, you're going to a bookstore and everything like that, say like, hey, you even got to fucking talk to me. Here's the link. You can go to it. All the stuff is down for wholesale price to you. You can buy whatever books you need to do. They ship to you. Ingram gives you a lot of money, and it's done. You don't have to deal with me. It's not another person. You don't have to worry about invoices or anything like that. You get your books in like, I think, a week. They ship out in. So we're really able to like dial that in and make it work for us. But when you're moving in that marketplace, which is very different from traditional comic book retail and doing things with LCS, because of course you have to do books that are economical for that. So you got to do graphic novels. You got to do hardcovers. You got to have like, a variety of different things you do. I can't put floppies in the Ingram. They're not going to, stuff like that. So, you're stuck with like, okay, maybe this is the avenue that's good for one thing. If I'm going to do single issues, I'm going to keep those, direct to customer and Kickstarter and crowdfund, until I could get those collected together as a trade. And then once I have that, then I have something I can pivot into the direct market. And then if it's something like, say, Slight Return Iberian, like we're doing right now, like Iberian will probably go up, be our next thing that we have available. Because right now it's like, I don't have to distribute my book in order to get everything going. So like I can literally use them as a wing of my Kickstarter fulfillment, have them doing all that, publish my books, take care of all of that. Then once I'm done with fulfillment, I want that to go to direct market. I click a button and put in my ISB code and update my book with the barcode, and then it's off. And that's it. And so it's like an easy solution. It's not going to be as lucrative. It's probably, getting into a traditional resale, like getting into Lunar or something like that is, but it works for me when I'm doing. And typically now that we built our base on Kickstarter, I don't have to worry about like bringing in big money through the direct market. I got to worry about building up my presence and getting the books out there for people who aren't in that ecosystem who want to find them. And that becomes like the most important part.
All right, cool. Jay.
Yeah. I've used 3, one based out of the Pacific Northwest. I don't know who the fuck it is anymore, but I never got any money from that one. I remember seeing their pictures. Oh, look, you're here. You're there.
A ringing endorsement for their services.
Somebody out of Kentucky who had 12 spinner racks between supermarkets and pharmacies. Yep. I got nothing out of that. And then there was the debacle that I was involved in a couple of years back with some Michigonians that ended up with egg on my face. Let's say that. So, yeah, going back to what Tom says, fuck all that shit. It's better to invest all that time in building up my own brand and just I don't need to be another chef in somebody else's kitchen.
All right. Fair
Tom,
enough.
don't write that down because that's not going to go on one of your T-shirts. It's going on mine,
It's not good enough.
motherfucker. It's gold.
I was
It's
about to say
fucking
Tom's
gold.
probably gonna say it doesn't hit his
What the
thing.
fuck? Come on, that's fucking golden. Shit, I said it right here. The trademark, copyright, all that other stuff. You know,
not
punto
strong
final. There
Not
we
strong
go.
enough.
I don't need to be a chef in somebody else's kitchen.
It's no, I hate it when Tom's right. It's just not. It's not at that level.
Don't make me ban you again from my friends list.
All right. For myself, yeah, I've used some alternative distributors. And yeah, they haven't been very successful. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that the business model is wrong, right? You know, the stuff was on consignment, right? So consignment is a tough business. And, you know, if your book doesn't sell, or if you just randomly put them in a store that maybe not geared towards comics, or even if they are geared towards comics, look, when a retailer buys a book, they're incentivized to sell that book, right? But if you give somebody something, you say, here, just leave this here, they don't have any incentive to sell it, right? You know, it's not like we're selling like Jay's old job, like we're selling beer. It doesn't matter what type of beer it is. You could go stand on the corner in the middle of anywhere and sell beer.
Incorrect. Incorrect. Based on experience, you try selling Firehouse Ale to Spanish bodegas that only want Corona.
Exactly. That's Spanish
That's not gonna
bodegas.
happen.
But let me tell you something. If you stand in the middle of 42nd Street and it's a hot summer day and it's the only fucking beer there, you're gonna sell that fucking beer. You know, as opposed to you, if you have your comics on there, nobody's gonna give a shit.
Do you know how real that is? Holy shit! Have I ever told you about my first year at San Diego Comic-Con? God damn! Here I am thinking I got it made. I'm in the booth. I'm sharing it with guys. Our costs are down. I'm like, I'm gonna go crazy. We had a couple thousand extra second prints of Penny for Your Soul that we printed up for the purpose of standing outside and giving them away at San Diego Comic-Con. Okay. We stood right at the, I don't know how many people have been there, but there's a walkway that comes from the train straight to this side, and they make a left and they go right into the convention center. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. Okay. San Diego Comic-Con is 5 days long. I could not give away 2,000 copies to those people in 5 days. They were literally like, I don't want comics. I don't want comics. I don't want comics. Like, holy shit.
What year? If you don't mind,
this would have been 2010 or 11, probably 11. Yeah.
Right. Because one of the things, I don't know if you ever tried this, because I think around 2006, 2005, I don't even remember what year it was, but we would bring cases and cases of the older books that we had done, and they had a freebie table.
Sure.
Right?
Oh no, I understand the freebie tables. Yeah, but I wanted to be out there and be like,
No,
I wanted to put it in their hand, and then if anyone had questions, I could be like, "We're a brand new publisher. Here's a new #1." There was a little slip in there that said, "Go to booth, whatever it was.
Right.
We'll sign it for you." Blah blah blah. Whatever. I wanted that personal thing. I've done I've done those freebie tables. I have no problem doing freebie tables.
Yeah.
I often ask cons, "Do you have a freebie table? Here's 50 books to like give away." But the fact that tens of thousands of people walked by and were like, "I don't want comics," at a Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm. No, it's rough.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
That's wild.
No, it's wild. Yeah. All right. Jay, you got another question?
I got nothing.
Marcus, if you don't got nothing, it's good. I got something.
Not sure if I got another question. No.
All right, here I got a simple one. What are you looking forward to, Tom?
As far as what?
Dude, that's it. It's open. Choose, pick. It could be anything.
I mean, there's not even a movie I'm looking forward to this year, so I don't know, man. Like,
even Thunderbolts?
Oh, fuck that Thunderbolts, dude. That's trash. That's already trash. Give me a break.
Come on,
trash.
I love Russell Nixon.
Trash. I'm the one thing that I'm sort of curious about, and we kind of talked about it here on the show a little bit, is the difference between floppies and like just like a what they call an OGN, original graphic novel. We're doing our first OGN this year. It's going to be my shark book, and we're doing it in June. So I'm really kind of curious to see, like, okay, what is the collector response to this? Because for my whole career, we've focused on the collectors, to give them that, hey, here's your convention exclusive or whatever. When we do Kickstarters, here's your variant cover and so on. This is going to be, here's the book. That's it. Here's the book. We'll have a hardcover. We'll have a soft cover version. But here's the book. It's the equivalent. It'll be like 100 pages. It'll be all new material. We're not going to release it floppy by floppy by floppy and then collect it. It's going to be just a boom. Here's the book. And so I'm really kind of curious to see what the response is, because we've done really well when we've done our trade paperbacks. We did the relaunch of Penny One. We did Critter Volume 5 recently and so on. We did really well with those trades. But now I'm kind of curious as to, will we do similarly well, which would be great, or will there be any sort of a pop from people who are like, oh, I'm in, like, this is the whole story. I'm in, like, I want this whole thing, versus the people that wait for the trade, So I'm kind of curious, and uptight about what the hell's going to happen with that.
That's cool. Matt, what are you looking forward to?
Just executing all the things that we have set in place for this year. We saw the way that a lot of creators that are kind of at our level really had a rough second half of 2024. So instead of going on to Kickstarter and trying to force some of our stuff out there, we also had some stuff that was delayed that we needed to regain our full control over it. Let's put it that way. We made sure to just start planning for what we wanted to do in 2025, get past the election, get past the turn of the year. We already know what our next 4 Kickstarters are going to be. We know what our next 6 releases are going to be. Probably our next 6 campaigns are going to be. We've got 2 anthology pieces out there. Most of the stuff for all 4 of our next Kickstarters is already done. There might be a cover here or a cover there. Might need the colorist to finish something, but a lot of the money that we've had to invest on the back end is already done. So it's going to be nice to see if having these things already done, like we're sitting here on this live stream, and I've got the Kickstarter campaign up that we're working on, and the next 2, the pages are almost done and supported and submitted to Kickstarter for approval. Or, I mean, not every single piece is there, but at the point where we can at least do that. It's not like it's, hey, the thing is launching in 3 days, I've still got to go put 50% of that page together. It's like 90% of the pages there. So that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing if those things, if there's going to be any fruits to the labor of all the stuff that we kind of like pushed into the 2025 calendar.
Cool. Marcus, what are you looking forward to?
Whew, I mean, there's a lot in both media and in the comics world. I'm really looking forward to Daredevil Born Again. Looks freaking dope. And I actually been going back and watching the original Netflix run, because I didn't realize it had been 10 years since it came out. I forgot so much of it. So I've been getting myself reacclimated with it. So that's cool. And in terms of the comics world, it's like, God, there's like there's a lot of stuff I'll talk about on like Facebook and my personal accounts and stuff that I might not share on like the official pages and like Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. So we got a lot of new stuff coming up this year. Thankfully, not too much new stuff, so it's all very doable, achievable, and I'm not gonna bend myself into a pretzel trying to get everything out. But we got new creators, more talent coming in, more people we're working with, working across the aisle on a couple of things of, stuff that's already been on Kickstarter and people are familiar with, stuff for some of my buddies that, we're going to be publishing now and we're getting into. So it's really like, I don't want to, say it's like going to be a transformative year, but it kind of is, because we're doing things a little bit differently. And like we have one book in the direct market. By the time we get done with this year, we'll have think 5 more added to that list, 5 or 6 more. So we're gonna have Iberian coming up soon. We'll have Nobody's Princess, the 4th one. That's going to be one of our next campaigns coming out. That's going to be collected into graphic novel trade. That's going to be coming out. We're going to have probably like a retool on Little Deaths, because that's already of graphic novel side. So we'll probably just be adding like some new stories and things to that. Have that coming out. Finally got my Critical Mass anthology done. So I'm like working on the last of the updated print files to get new proofs and finally get that out. So it's like, a lot of backlog that we had coming from 2024 is going to get out. And then we get into like all the new stuff that we're doing too. And then on top of that, we have basically like a UK branch of Odyssey that's working out as my assistant director starts taking on more projects over there too. So now it's, taking advantage of being able to, not just be so insular and doing everything myself, but having someone that could finally be Marcus somewhere else and like, lead some projects and some teams and help get some things out there that's going to be like really transformative for us. And I think just on top of that, just kind of like knowing where we want to be, because it's got to the point where it's like, I don't really even like calling myself like a publisher too much anymore, because I don't really operate by the traditional publisher standards. Like Tom was saying earlier, like publishers not going to get your books together for you. They're not going to do this and they're not going to do that. Like those are the things I've been doing literally since I started and we've been making comic books. Like my team just hands me work. Sometimes there's no letters. Sometimes I end up being the letter. Sometimes I'm the colors. We really got this like bootstrap thing where we get everything together. But like my creators know, if I make the book and I make it quality and I hand it over to Marcus, Marcus is gonna take care of the rest and everything's gonna be good and he's gonna handle everything. So we're becoming really like more of a like co-op, almost. And actually we are in official terms. Like we're, a couple of my team members, they are rewarded with actual like stake in Odyssey Comics and, get a cut of everything that we do in return for, the effort that they put forth in helping me get everything out. So, I'm really trying to just shake off more of the old publisher thing and become more of a collective, I guess you could say. So I'm using a little bit more of, I would say, is the approach that people do in like independent music and independent film, which has also always been weird to me, because I'm like, having been in both of those things and been in indie comics now, it's like, it's really weird how indie music and film operates compared to like indie comics. Like we commoditize like our art form and our media a lot more than they do. Like musicians and like filmmakers, they do stuff for no money. They just get together. They just want to work with people who are on the same vibe, same wavelength, to make something cool together because they understand the process is mutually enriching and helping everybody get to where like they want to be. Like that's how they do things. And indie comics is we use basically the same philosophy that the big publishers have, but we tend to do it on a smaller, messier, less organized scale. it ends up getting us in trouble a lot. So not that everybody's that way, but that tends to be the way it is more often than not. So it's also always very different to me. So I'm trying to, I don't know, shake things up a little bit and hopefully, change some things so that we're better and be hopefully, somewhere places people they can go. That's like that's always been my effort with Odyssey, is to try to be a publisher that wasn't like a publisher, so to speak, but really try to own that a lot more this year. And so far from what we're doing, that's been a result of that is really good stuff that I'm like really excited about. Just like I get the books in, I want to go sleep with them. Like, I'm holding on to them where they're like right here, like in front of me, like at my desk, and I'm looking at them all the time and stuff. Like, I'm just like, I'm a fan of what I'm doing. And that's why I know like I'm on the right path and I'm feeling good, because I am personally as a comic reader just really enjoying what we're doing on top of being like the actual person that publishes it. And that's that makes me feel good. I'm happy with where that is, wherever it takes me.
All right, cool. Jay, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking to running back my campaign on the figures. Thanks for bringing it up before, Matt. I've got a few more of the prototypes in. I will have more coming up, but here's some of them. We're gonna bang it out, and we're gonna be at Joe Fest in June, which is gonna bookend my campaign for these figures, and I can't wait to go down there. I'm actually driving down instead of flying like a moron. But it's going to end up changing my approach to how I'm going to exhibit at the event. And I've got 2 different podcasts booked already just for toys. It's a different market, and I'm a hell of a lot more informed now than I was the time before. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait.
So, Jay, that brings up a good thing. I'm going to ask you a question specifically.
What's up?
From the campaign that you had last time,
Yeah.
You know what your ask was, what the performance was. Yeah. What did you learn from that? What are you going to do differently this time to try and make your campaign be successful this time where it wasn't the last time?
So it's already started. One, being involved a hell of a lot more in that community. I was not prior. And not just being involved by being a dump farm and posting my stuff, engaging the people that are in there, meeting them, talking to them, getting to know them on a collector's level. I know it sounds fucking weird and basic, but it's working, right? It's gaining that recognition that hopefully can translate when I launch and makes me more aware in their mind that this product is going to be there. That's 1. 2, I didn't have all the prototypes ready. And it was more geared towards the superhero line than it was to the, I guess, Dungeons and Dragons style line, right? What popped was not the superheroes. It was the demons. And it was the creatures. And we are leaning more into that. So there are going to be a few more surprises. It is not just going to be the 3 troop builders that we had for the demons. There are going to be more, at least 1 more, but others prep for the stretch goals if we can get to that. And having that done in advance is costly, right? So I need the lead up time also, which I didn't have. I had less than a 45-day lead up time going into that. Another thing is the pictures that I took for the prototypes on the page were not good enough. So that's another thing I'm changing. I got the little spinning wheel. I got the photo booth, right? So I can isolate them, not have them mired by what's going on in the background. Just make it these figures alone. Halfway through the campaign is when we launched the demons, and that's what gave us our big boost. So if we can have those creatures out from the beginning, we have more of an opportunity to capitalize on those dollars. Those are just some of the things. I can't say I have it all figured out, but I'm definitely open to doing the research to figure it out.
All right, cool. I'm looking forward to another year of just doing comics, man. In the end, I'm just looking forward to doing more books. I have 4 of them on my plate, and I'm just looking forward to capping off and moving on to some new stuff, which I think is going to be interesting. So we'll see what happens. So gentlemen, we made it to hour 2. Matt, please let us know where we can find you and your work, sir.
All right. So right now, the place we want you to go first and foremost is to tinyurl.com/heirs, HEIRS TPP4. That is for the Perilous Prospects 4. Obviously, you can get books 1 through 4 there. It's apocalyptic sci-fi set in a steampunk world. We have 10 days left. We're a few $100s below our minimum ask. So we'd love for you to go over there and join us as an honorary citizen of Shadows Haven and become a part of this campaign with us. If you want to see what we do outside of Kickstarter, you go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creation. That's INSYMMETRY Creations. All of our links are there, including our metal music, all of our different titles that we do, Webtoon, our columns, Steph's movie and horror culture and geek life articles. Everything is there. You can see our show schedule. And but yeah, that's where the 2 things are. You can go to tinyurl.com/AirsTPP4 and linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations.
All right, cool. Tom, where can we find you and your work, sir?
BigDogInc.com, and we're on all the socials. If you're on TikTok, we're on TikTok. There's nothing really there. It doesn't matter. But we'll be launching Critter on Saturday. It'll be Critter number 25 for the series, wrapping up volume 6. If you're not familiar with Critter, you'll get all the previous books, trade paperbacks, and so on together, so you can catch up quickly. We're going to be doing a launch party, Madison Heights, Michigan, so basically right near Detroit, at Comics and More. Chris Brown has always been great with us, so we're doing a store signing / launch party. There's free comics there. We're going to have free food there. So if you're in the area, come hang out, chill out with us for the day. January 25th, this coming Saturday.
All right, cool. Marcus.
By all means, go to odysseycomics.com, and of course, check us out on Kickstarter for Slight Return, launching this Tuesday.
Nice. Jay.
UnstoppableComics.com is where I live. You can find all my social media links there, and new information on what we're going to do, where we're going to be. So that also includes not just the Joe Fest on June 20th, 21st, and 22nd, but Industry City Comic Fest here in Brooklyn on April 25th and 26th, and New York Comic Con Columbus weekend. So far, that's what's on the docket. There could be, hopefully, there's more.
All right, cool. I'm JD Calderon. So you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different places. TheOswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, and pretty soon back on Kickstarter. Actually, it'll be on Friday. So I will be running another campaign on Friday. So that's for the Oswald Chronicles. One plate, casting queens, making homes in full color. So there you go. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here tonight. Guys, you're all awesome. Carissa, please feel better. I hope everything goes well. Please, everyone, go check out the links in the show notes. Everybody here is producing books. All these books are fantastic. Please click on those links and buy some books, because everybody here needs your help. Everybody here is creating, like I said, fantastic books. So please go check them out. They all deserve your support. So thank you so much, everybody. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Later.
Later.